Alrighty, and we're back for round 3. And this hand does not look so bad. Probably going to lead with a Thoughtseize. We are on the draw, though. Have the ability to force pitching the click if he is a combo deck, but let's see where we're at. Flutterstrand. Maybe he's playing Stoneforge Mystic, so I kind of want to wait until he actually casts Stoneforge Mystic before casting the Thoughtseize. But maybe I just want to go ahead and do it. Yeah, I mean, Flutterstrand could be anything. I mean, there are a variety of blue decks. He also went down to 6, so I guess we can just use our mana more efficiently and go Thoughtseize into Stoneforge Mystic. Alright, well, he's got Treasure Cruise, and a bunch of lands, 2 of which are wastelands, which is kind of gross. So we will take Treasure Cruise. And I assume we're going to get wastelanded probably twice. Hopefully we draw a fetch land so we can play that so we don't get wastelanded next turn. Alright, well, we'll lead with that. Probably just going to crack Stoneforge next turn. I may end of turn Brainstorm since he played the Tundra here. I think that way I get to shuffle away this Jite. I don't get full value, but since he has that other wasteland, we do want to make sure we get some value out of our card. So we'll put back Jite, Treasure Cruise, untap, draw a Cruise, play Stoneforge. And unfortunately, we don't have access to black mana because we want to play the Stoneforge, and we fetched our only scrub land up on the first turn that got wastelanded. So we'll just go get Batterskull, I guess. And I assume he's just red, white, blue Delver, but I can't be certain. Plow. Well, I could force this, but I don't really want to force that. I think I'd rather just force his next major spell like a Stoneforge or something. We're going to get wastelanded, but any cheap spell off the top or a fetch land can help us cast these Treasure Cruises. But alrighty, well, probably just going to cast Force on whatever he casts this turn just so we can Treasure Cruise next turn. Another wasteland. Man, that's a blowout. And even if we draw a land now, we're going to get hammered pretty hard by or having to discard. So I kind of want to go ahead and force this so I don't have to discard next turn if I don't draw a land. I think I'm just going to save it. There's a high likelihood that I draw a land next turn, but if I miss, it's not too big of a deal. I don't actually even want a Treasure Cruise right now. Like, I can just to make sure I try to hit land drops, but he doesn't have a... Hopefully he doesn't have a 4th wasteland. But, I want to force and then Treasure Cruise. So, yeah, we're going to force here. I'm just going to go ahead and pitch Vendilion Click. I think this game's going to go pretty long, and these Treasure Cruises are going to be good. Whereas the Vendilion Click is probably just going to get hit with a Source of Plowshares or something. Yeah, this Delver's not a huge deal. It could end up beating me, but I do get a couple of draws with Treasure Cruise, so... Alright, we're going to cast... Actually, we're going to play the Underground Sea first and cast Treasure Cruise off that in case we draw Plow. Because I want to go ahead and kill that Delver. We could potentially use less of our graveyard, but I want to play around... days as well. Alright, well, now we got a bunch of cards in our hand. Not a ton in our graveyard, but he's only got 1 card in hand. And he did not flip his Delver. So, probably fetching away a land that was on top. Or perhaps a Batterskull or some such. So we're probably going to Brainstorm on our turn, try to find a Plow. or a Stoneforge Mystic or something, so we can get this Batterskull into play. Probably going to try to shuffle away this Thoughtseize since he's only got one card in hand. This Marsh Flats probably needs to get a black source. We're going to go and play the fetch land so that we don't get hit with a Spell Pierce. Get the full blowouts. We'll just put back both of Thoughtseizes. And I'm going to go ahead and play this Stoneforge. Get a Jite. And we get Underground Seer, a Tundra. Guess I'll just get another Tundra. Alright, we'll use F6 and we'll get Jite, but looking mostly to put the Batterskull into play next turn, and probably going to force pitching the Spell Pierce if he draws a removal spell. Alright, well, top card flipped. It was a Daze, but he wants to get rid of that. So even though he flips, he doesn't draw the Daze. I'm going to take some damage here. Hopefully get this Batterskull into play along with a Deathrite Shaman. Probably use a Delta. Oh wait, no, we lost our Tropical Island, so we actually can't gain life off of that. Alright, so go and cast that. I'm gonna go ahead and use the Stoneforge on upkeep in case he is playing Stifle or Vendilion Click. Just to, if he has it, just to make him use a mana on his own turn. But more than likely, usually when you get your Batterskull into play, your opponent can't do a whole lot after that. It's possible I should have just forced his Brainstorm. Yeah, we're just going to force his Stoneforge Mystic though. We're going to keep superiority when it comes to that. Now if he pierces or whatever, we could just untap, cast Jite, equip, kill the Stoneforge so he can make sure he doesn't get the Batterskull into play very easily. He showed us his hand though for some reason. So this red, white, blue Delver deck, even though it does have red and probably Treasure Cruise, it is likely the winning list from the last open, which means that it probably doesn't have Young Pyromancer in it, which means that Self-Persecution is probably bad, so we'll be trimming that. And as I did earlier against Delver, cutting the 2 Spell Pierces. His deck probably doesn't have that many red cards in it, other than just like Lightning Bolts and maybe some other red removal spell. The Relic of Progenesis seem okay at just keeping his graveyard in check. I don't really have a good plan in this matchup. That's something that I feel like I'm lacking in, because I don't really like the soft counters too much. The Force Wills are okay. You know, we do want them in our deck against them so that we can just, you know, even if we're 2-for-1ing ourselves with Force, we get to use Treasure Cruise later on to refuel. I mean, he does the same thing too, which I guess is probably a good argument for Relic. We'll just use that to keep him off of his Treasure Cruises, and then we can cycle it later on in the game to draw a card. Alright, this hand is a little land light, but we do have a Ponder, and I think that's kind of the danger of playing fewer lands in the Deathrite decks in Ponder, but hopefully we don't get hit too bad by it. I would love if this Ponder resolves, but if our opponent deems it worthy to counter, that's fine. We still have a Brainstorm. We do hit a land and some Stone Forges, so we're not going to shuffle. Probably just going to jam Stoneforge next turn, although we may Brainstorm into Thoughtseize depending on what he does. If he Stoneforges for Batterskull, we're probably going to Brainstorm into Thoughtseize and hope that that resolves. It's possible I just want to Thoughtseize him though. That is actually kind of tough. What I can do is actually, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to fetch Scrub Land, and I'm just going to cast Thoughtseize. And this will play around Daze from Helm, in case he has it, as well as if he does have a Force Will or something, we can Brainstorm in response and try to find something. So we'll just take his Batterskull, I hate not giving him the treasure cruise though, or not taking the treasure cruise, since that is such a good card later on. We could potentially wasteland his volcanic island to keep him off of red. Okay. I think I'm okay with that. I think I'm probably going to brainstorm here. This is not the greatest play. You know, he's probably going to Pyroblast. But if we draw a blue source in the meanwhile, we'll be able to treasure cruise pretty easily now. And we're going to be able to resolve this Stoneforge. And he didn't hit our white source, which is fantastic. But he does have a Wear Tear in hand. So we're probably not going to want to put this Batterskull into play until after we have either made him discard the Wear Tear or have enough mana to actually bounce it. So, but right now we'll just get it, threaten it. Maybe he'll have to hold up mana for a while. Hopefully we'll draw blue mana and be able to treasure cruise or something, or ponder. But yep, there comes a bolt. And treasure cruise. Yeah, that's one thing I'm finding from against these Delver decks is that they all have access to Red Elemental Blast and a lot more just like cheap interactive spells. And also all their land staff are blue. Like right now, obviously we're short on blue because we had an awkward fetch. I don't think I'm gonna wasteland. I kind of want to though, just in case he didn't draw land. And if our Deathrite dies, it's not really changing. The wasteland doesn't really change much. We still need to draw a blue source to do anything. But if he goes plow into wasteland, we're in a little bit of trouble. Alright, well no plow, so that's good. Okay, well, he is not wastelanding, which is a little strange. Alright, well I'm going to exile his land, get a blue. Cast Ponder, try to hit some land drops. We could have just cast Treasure Cruise, I suppose. Alright, well there's some stuff. All this is pretty good actually. But the land is pretty necessary at this point, so we're going to play that. And I think we're just going to pass. I'm going to get a little more information. This game's going to go pretty long, and hopefully the life won't matter too much. Well, he didn't reveal. So I think I'm just going to go ahead and plow this guy, though. This could be a mistake. If he has GT, he's going to be able to play and equip, and that might be the reason why he didn't wasteland. So, could be a big punt by not waiting for combat, since the Delver wasn't all that relevant. Alright, well, Stoneforge for probably a GT. Yep. Alright, so he's got GT in hand and he can't put it into play. So we're going to Treasure Cruise into the Thoughtseize, take it from him, hopefully. And again, our Tropical Island is gone, which means we can't actually gain life with our Deathrite Shaman anymore, which kind of stinks. Alright, well, exile's Wasteland. Blue. And since we don't have Snapcaster Mage in this version, we don't have to worry about our graveyard at all, so can get rid of things at ease. Alright, so I think I want a Thoughtseize. And I think I want to brainstorm 2 and maybe try to hit a land. Maybe should have done that first. Alright, so 2 bolts, a Jace, GT, and a Wear Tear. Right, we're in a little bit of trouble since he does have that Jace if he draws a land. So we'll put back those 2, play a Relic, start eating his graveyard up to make sure his future Treasure Cruises don't do much. Hopefully he doesn't draw a red source. And then next turn we can Stoneforge, pick up the Batterskull, maybe Thoughtseize Jace, or just play Vendilion Click or something. We got a lot of options. Brainstorm off the top is a pretty good one from him. If he hits a red source, that's 2 bolts, which puts us to 5, and Stoneforges put us to 3 this turn. But our Stoneforges can brick him off a little bit. Alright, well, he chose to shuffle after he brainstormed and pondered, so he's still lacking red mana, which is great. Alright, so we're going to go to 9. Double Wasteland. He might just fire those off here. Alright, well, he decides not to. And we're just going to Thoughtseize his Jace, I guess, depending on what he kept. Yeah, so he shuffled away a bolt. Alright, yeah, we'll just go and get rid of that Jace. He's a little flooded now. Alright, we'll go ahead and make him exile a card. We can spend 2 and cruise and try to draw land before we Stoneforge. I think we just want to Stoneforge and pass. Want to protect our life total a little bit from these guys. Hopefully we can get this Stoneforge active with the Batter Skull. And since he shuffled and missed on red, hopefully he just continues to do so. And just cast Delver or whatever next turn. Looks like a swords. Okay. Perfectly fine with that. We're still in pretty good shape here. He's gonna play the Delver after hitting our lands, but we can Treasure Cruise and hopefully try to draw into our removal spell for his Delver, and he might not even be able to flip it, so. Alright. I kinda wanna crack this Relic to draw a card, but that just means our cruise doesn't do anything, so I think I'll pass. Alright, well, let's go ahead and cruise it up again, try to hit some more lands. Alright, well, we hit some lands. So we can go ahead and hit his graveyard to try to keep him off of cruise in case he draws it. And we'll go ahead and play our Stoneforge, get a GT. Hopefully he doesn't peel Ponder into red source or Brainstorm into red source. That would be pretty bad for us. But basically, if he flips his Delver, we have 1 turn to find an answer to it. But we do have a Brainstorm and a draw off of Relic. And potentially just play an Equip GT next turn, but we're not in great shape. But luckily he missed, but that might mean he has a red source. So, yep. So he gets to bolt our Stoneforge and attack for 3. Yeah, we're okay with that. And his last card is Wear Tear. Alright, well, let's Brainstorm and hope we don't miss. Alright, well, we mostly missed. Put this Batter Skull away. Alright, let's go ahead and hit one of his cards. And I guess we just have to hope that he doesn't hit with his Delver. So I think we just have to play 2 Deathray Shamans. I actually should have fetched an Underground Sea here. That was a mistake. But we're just going to play, because if we just cast Vendilion Click, that allows him to attack with all 3 of his guys. So we're just going to hope he misses one more time. But, you know, he has a pretty high chance of killing us here with the Delver, but we did miss on finding a removal spell for it. And luckily he misses, so that's good for us. His hand is just Wear Tear. Can't really afford to attack because we'll be able to eat his Delver. And I guess we don't want to crack the Relic of Progenitus just yet, since we do have a lot of things in the graveyards. We have a couple of lands that we can use for mana. His graveyard has a couple instant sorceries we can use to deal him damage. And we do want to be able to cast and equip the Jite this turn, so. Alright. Well, we'll just go ahead and do that. Kill his Delver. If he blocks, we'll kill the Stoneforge and the Delver. If he doesn't block, then we'll just kill the Delver and maybe gain 2 life and hope he doesn't peel a bolt. Oh no, he has Wear Tear. I'm just being stupid. Okay, well we can still exile a creature. I believe there's hopefully a creature in the graveyards. Yeah, my Stoneforge Mystic. So we can block. Yeah, that was dumb. I'm just missing very basic stuff here. I will say that talking and trying to play Legacy is very difficult. I literally just said he has Wear Tear and then proceeded to cast and equip Jite and was expecting it to turn out well. Like, I could have just held up for Vendilion Click and probably going to lose here to the Delver. Yeah. So, yeah, he revealed Force, but I guess, okay, so we can Deathrite, Relic, and hopefully draw Plow, but that's our only out. But we can't do it until combat because we have to be able to threaten to block the Stoneforge Mystics. Hilariously enough, we have to go exile with both before we crack the Relic. We are probably dead. We have to get super lucky. Make some white. Make some more white. Nope. Alright, well, we did. I think we could have won that game. We played a little bad and did not draw exactly what we needed. I don't know, I really hate Force of Will in this matchup. I feel like a lot of times when you want to cast it, it's early on. This version of the deck does have Stoneforge Mystic, though, which we do want to counter more often than not. So perhaps we do want to keep Force Will in the deck for that purpose alone. The Jace might be okay, but Jace is just generally bad against Delver, and especially when they also have access to Red Elemental Blast. I'm going to keep it as is, but I mean, as you can see, the relics have a little bit of non-bow with Treasure Cruise, but usually just want them early to mess with your opponent's Treasure Cruises. Well, I guess we'll keep. We'll just use Relic to keep his graveyard in check, and hopefully we don't get wastelanded. Alrighty. I guess a Brainstorm would be good. I mean, you can obviously see how much more powerful the Treasure Cruisers are out of the Delver decks, right? Like, they just have more cantrips than us. The removal's cheaper. You know, they have burn spells that can go to the dome, things like that. So, if we don't draw a land here, I'm probably just going to crack the Relic and try to hit one. Definitely now that we have the Stoneforge, because we definitely want to hit a land next turn for that. But now that we missed, if we get wastelanded, we're going to be in a lot of trouble. Unless we draw blue source. Brainstorm I'm okay with, especially before if he does it after he plays his land, which means I'm not getting wastelanded. So now I can either draw a land to cast Stoneforge, or I'll just cast the Ponder if I don't draw a land. So I could cast a Brainstorm, but that there's a small chance of me getting brainstorm locked, which kind of sucks. I mean, we're just gonna let this resolve. I don't really want to force fight over that right now. You know, it is important that the lands, but I think this game's gonna go pretty long as long as he doesn't draw a wasteland right here and we just miss on lands for the rest of the game. Yeah, well, there it is. Well, that's step one for us losing. A Delver there would have been pretty backbreaking as well, but alright, well, guess we'll discard Stoneforge Mystic. Kinda wanna force this. We're gonna have to discard anyway. Click seems like a pipe dream for at least a little while, so I don't mind pitching that here. I want to hold on to the Brainstorm, and I potentially want to hold on to the other Force in case we have to force pitch Brainstorm in a minute. Like, I kind of want to force this here just because we're so far behind. I think I'm gonna. He's probably just gonna Treasure Cruise next turn, and then we're gonna lose, but we'll see how this goes. Pretty much standard Treasure Cruise Legacy, where one person has 3 lands, the other person has 0, and you have equal or more cards in hand because of Treasure Cruise. Yeah. Yeah, this is just not fun. I don't know. I mean, he has 4 permanents in play and 1 more card in hand than me. It just feels gross. But I don't know, we have Treasure Cruises of our own, but I mean, we don't even have enough mana to cast them right now, or cards in our graveyard, so True Name Nemesis, that is one that I have not seen too much lately, and I don't ever want to see again. Alright, well, we keep drawing lands, which is great. We'll go ahead and cast Stoneforge Mystic. That'll make his True Name Nemesis have to hold back on defense, hopefully. Probably need to get Jite simply because Batterskull gets brickwalled by this guy, and if he had a bolt, then that means that our Jite is never getting, or our Batterskull is basically never getting online. Alright, well, another True Name. Really wish I had kept in Zealous Persecution, but now I'm just gonna lose this race pretty easily. Brainstorming here over Pondering because I basically need to hit like 2 things immediately, and we missed, but we have a Ponder, so we're gonna do that. Probably shuffle unless we hit Lingering Souls or something. Yeah, we just have to shuffle that away. Alrighty, well, we're gonna go down to 8 here from this attack, and I don't think our Jite can race basically anything that he's doing. Alright, well, we're just going to concede. We can't win this game. Yeah, I mean, as you can see, like, even though I'm really suspect as to the guy who won the Legacy Open with Deathblade, you know, I think the deck is fine, but, I mean, we're still in, like, basically level 1 of Treasure Cruise Legacy, and at least from what I can feel, I just feel like these Delver-based decks are just the ones with a lot of cheaper cantrips and cheaper disruption are just highly advantaged in these Treasure Cruise mirrors. You know, this version of the deck doesn't have Monastery Swiftspear in it, and you know, it has a little bit harder to deal with stuff like True Name Nemesis and Stoneforge Mystic, but I don't even know if that's the way to go. I'm going to be doing a lot more testing in Legacy with Treasure Cruise and probably just like Delver-based decks. But for now, we're gonna play the last round out. But at least I've learned a little bit about Legacy from just this small amount of Magic so far. But we're gonna go and concede this match, and we'll be back for the last round in just a few.